The West Indies cricket legend you thought retired actually built a coffee empire with his wife in Australia, and here's the untold story. Carl Hooper was one of the most gifted cricketers to ever wear the West Indies jersey. He could bat beautifully, bowl clever off spin, and catch anything in the slips. For 16 years, he played for his country, scoring over 10,000 runs and taking more than 300 wickets. People compared him to the greats like Viv Richards and Brian Lara. But there's another side to Carl that most cricket fans never knew about. Behind the elegant batting and the famous test matches was a family man who chose love over fame. A husband who walked away from cricket twice because his family needed him. And a father who wanted to be there for his son's soccer games more than he wanted to be in the spotlight. This is the real story of Carl Hooper, his marriage to Constance, their children, and the life they built together far from the cricket grounds. Carl Hooper met Constance when his cricket career was flying high. She wasn't just any woman. Constance, who everyone calls Connie, was born in Melbourne, Australia, but her family came from Macedonia in Europe. Her parents moved to Australia when they were just children, and they grew up together in the Macedonian community. Her father was a big businessman involved in media companies and restaurants. Connie herself had a business degree and worked in advertising. She was smart, beautiful, and confident. When Carl and Connie met, it wasn't love at first sight, at least that's what Carl says. He once explained that real love grows over time. You need something to start it, sure, but you have to be careful and let it develop naturally. For Carl, it didn't take long to realize Connie was special. There was something about her that just felt right. The way she carried herself, the way she thought about life, her faith, everything about her drew him in. They got married in 1997. Carl made it very clear in interviews that Connie is his first and only wife. Some media outlets got confused and thought he might have been married before, but Carl shut that down immediately. This was it for him. One woman, one love, one marriage. And their relationship was built on something solid, their deep faith in God. Both Carl and Connie are very religious people. They believe in prayer. They believe in putting God first, and they believe in facing life's problems together with faith as their guide. This wasn't just something they talked about either. When Carl retired from cricket the first time back in 1999, he and Connie went to church for 13 Sundays in a row. Not just 1 or 2 Sundays, but 13 straight weeks. Why? Because Carl wanted to give thanks to God for the 12 years he had with West Indies cricket. Think about that for a second. Here's a man who just walked away from international cricket, and instead of celebrating with parties or taking a vacation, he spent almost 3 months going to church every single Sunday to say thank you. That tells you everything about what faith means to this couple. The wedding itself brought together two very different cultures. Carl came from Guyana in the Caribbean, a place where cricket is like religion and family ties run deep. Connie came from a Macedonian Australian background, where European traditions mixed with Australian laid-back lifestyle. When people asked Connie about any racial barriers in their marriage, she seemed genuinely puzzled by the question. She talked about how Australia is a melting pot with people from Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and everywhere else. Her father, being a major entrepreneur in the media, made sure their marriage got proper attention, but not because it was controversial. It was celebrated. There was only acceptance, trust, and love from both families. Connie even speaks Macedonian fluently, keeping that cultural connection alive. Macedonia, as she pointed out, is famous in the Bible as the birthplace of Alexander the Great and Cleopatra. That historical pride ran through her family. So when Carl and Connie got married, it wasn't just two people coming together. It was two rich cultures blending into one beautiful family story. Carl and Connie have 2 children. Their son is named Carl Jr., following in his father's footsteps with the name at least. Carl Jr.'s story is actually the reason behind one of the biggest decisions in Carl Hooper's cricket career. Back in 1999, just weeks before the Cricket World Cup, Carl suddenly announced he was retiring from international cricket. People were shocked. He was only 32 years old and still playing well. But what most people didn't know was that Carl Jr. had been born premature. The baby was sick and fighting for his life in Adelaide, Australia. Carl asked the West Indies Cricket Board for some time off to be with his wife and newborn son. The board wasn't too happy about it. They wanted him to keep playing, but Carl made a choice that would define who he really was as a person. He chose his family. He went back to Australia to be by Connie's side while their premature baby fought to get stronger. What Carl thought would be a couple of months off turned into 18 months away from cricket. During that time, something painful happened. Carl's phone stopped ringing. His teammates didn't call to check on him. People he thought were his friends for life just disappeared. The only person who reached out was Brian Lara, who was the captain at the time, and even he was just asking when Carl would come back. Nobody else called to say, "Hey Carl, are you doing okay? How's your family? How's your son?" Nothing. It was a lonely time for Carl. He felt forgotten by the cricket world he had given everything to. But Carl wasn't completely alone. He had Connie and he had his mother-in-law, who became a huge part of his life during this difficult period. His mother-in-law did something powerful for Carl. She reaffirmed his faith. Through simple conversations, she reminded him that God had a plan. She told him, if you want to play cricket again, prepare yourself for when you go back, and God will lead the way. And you know what? That's exactly what happened. Not only did Carl get the chance to play again, he came back as the captain of the West Indies. He was asking for 5 and God gave him 10, as he put it. Those final 22 test matches that Carl played between 2001 and 2003 were some of his best cricket ever. He averaged 46 as a batsman with 4 centuries. His leadership brought West Indies a test series victory against India at home. He even scored his highest test score ever, 233 not out, at Borda in Guyana. The captaincy changed him. His batting average as captain was nearly 46, compared to just over 36 for his whole career. When you have the right support at home, when your wife believes in you, when your family stands behind you, you can do amazing things. Carl Jr. grew up in and around cricket. Connie used to read to him every morning and gave him a mini computer to learn the alphabet. The moment Carl Jr. saw his dad walk out to bat on TV, he would shout Carl Hooper, over and over. He had these little dreadlocks and would run around the dressing rooms when Carl took him on tour. The Indian spinner Harbhajan Singh fell in love with the kid and even bought him a remote-controlled car because he was so adorable. Carl made sure his son understood his West Indian roots, even though they were living in Australia. Guyana was where Carl came from, though both his parents had moved to New York by then. The family would spend time in Trinidad too, where they had a house. Keeping that Caribbean connection alive was important to Carl and Connie. They also have a daughter, though the family keeps her life more private. What's clear is that both children are loved deeply and raised with the same values that Carl and Connie share: faith, family, hard work, and gratitude. After Carl finally retired from cricket for good in 2003, he and Connie settled permanently in Adelaide, South Australia. They'd actually been living there since the late 1990s, even while Carl was still playing for the West Indies. Adelaide isn't a huge city like Sydney or Melbourne. It's more relaxed, with beautiful weather and a lifestyle that Carl fell in love with. When people ask him why he lives in Australia, he just says he loves the weather and the lifestyle. Plus, it's where Connie is from, and after everything she did to support his cricket career, following him around the world for years, it only made sense to build their permanent home in her country. But Carl and Connie didn't just retire and relax, they became business people. Together with Connie's brothers, they run a chain of coffee shops in Adelaide called and Caf Bar. This isn't just one small cafe, it's a whole chain, meaning multiple locations across the city. Connie had that business degree and advertising background, so she knew how to run things. She handles the books, manages the finances, and attends directors' meetings when needed. But she's also completely comfortable in her role as a mom, taking care of the kids and managing the household. Carl is hands-on in the business too. He's not just a silent partner who lends his famous name. He's involved in the day-to-day operations, working alongside his wife and her family to make the coffee shop successful. See, Carl also has another hobby that might surprise cricket fans. In his spare time, he trades currencies on the foreign exchange markets. He's not playing with stocks and shares, just trading currencies like the US dollar against British sterling. The time difference between Australia, North America, and England works perfectly for him. He can trade early in the morning or late at night when all the big players come out and the markets are most active. But Carl is smart about it. He only invests his own money because, as he says, he likes to sleep at night. If things go against you in the markets and you're playing with other people's money, you won't be able to sleep. That's the kind of careful, thoughtful approach Carl takes to everything. He's not reckless. He thinks things through. And that same careful thinking shows up in how he lives his life and raises his family. Life in Adelaide for the Hooper family is about balance. Carl still stays involved with cricket, but on his own terms. He completed his Level 3 coaching qualification with Cricket Australia in 2010, which is the highest level of coaching certification you can get. He's worked with the South Australia Cricket Association, coaching young players and passing on his knowledge. In 2011, he was appointed as the batting coach at the West Indies High Performance Centre in Barbados. He was surprised by how much talent he saw there. Being away from the Caribbean for so long and just watching games on TV, he didn't realize how many good young cricketers were coming through. When he got close and actually worked with them, he could see the West Indies still had plenty of talent. They just needed proper guidance and support. Carl also coached in the Caribbean Premier League, working as assistant coach for the Antigua Hawksbills in 2014, and then as head coach for the Guyana Amazon Warriors in 2015. More recently, he's been assistant coach for the Adelaide Strikers in Australia's Big Bash League, now in his third year with the team. He also took on a role as a specialist pathway coach in South Australia, working with the under-19 state team. So cricket is still part of his life, but it doesn't control his life anymore. What really stands out about Carl's life after cricket is how much he prioritized being present for his family. He made a conscious choice to be the stabilizing influence at home alongside Connie. He didn't want to be the dad who was always traveling, always away, always putting his career first. After experiencing how isolating it was during his first retirement, when nobody called and he felt abandoned by the cricket community, Carl understood what really matters. Your immediate family is all you've got. That was the lesson his mother-in-law taught him, and he took it to heart. So yes, he does some coaching work and commentary, but he also played indoor soccer with the father's team at his son's school. He took Carl Jr. to soccer practice. He was there for the everyday moments, not just the big occasions. That's the kind of father and husband he wanted to be. And Connie supported all of it. She knew how hard it was for Carl to watch West Indies struggle after he left. When articles came out suggesting Carl had itchy feet for Test cricket again, just 6 months after retiring, Connie understood. But she also knew they had made the right choice as a family. Whatever he scores, I'll be happy, she said. She's philosophical about life and cricket. The criticism and negativity people throw at Carl is like water off a duck's back. He's mentally strong, and so is she. They both believe in the same idea. Whenever you hear a negative, turn it into a positive. The traveling involved in cricket never bothered Connie. What mattered to her was keeping the Hooper family together. They knew they'd spend time in the Caribbean when Carl was captain and playing. They'd be based in Guyana most of the time, since that's where Carl is from, and also in Trinidad where they had their house. But Australia was always home base. It's where they could have stability, where the kids could go to good schools, where they could build their business, and where they could have a normal life away from the pressures and expectations that come with being a cricket legend in the Caribbean. In the West Indies, Carl Hooper will always be a hero and a legend, but that also means you can never just be a regular person. Everyone wants a piece of you. Everyone has an opinion about your career and your decisions. In Adelaide, Carl could be just a husband, just a dad, just a business owner. He could walk into his coffee shop without people asking him why he got out to a particular shot in a test match 15 years ago. Faith continues to be the foundation of the Hooper family. That deep religious belief that brought Carl and Connie together in the first place still guides them today. Connie once said that being married is wonderful because when you get married in the eyes of God, you become one. Wherever your paths lead, they lead together. Carl and Connie have been through a lot together. The premature birth of their son, the isolation of retirement, the criticism Carl faced as captain, the decision to step away from cricket permanently, the challenge of building a new life and business. Through all of it, their faith and their partnership kept them strong. They turned negatives into positives, just like Connie said. They face problems together, they make decisions as a team, and they keep God at the center of everything. Looking back at Carl Hooper's cricket career, people sometimes say he didn't fulfill his potential. His batting average of 36 in tests doesn't match the elegance and talent he showed. Even great players like Brian Lara wrote that Carl didn't do full justice to his brilliance. Shane Warne rated Carl among the top 100 cricketers of his time because of how hard it was to bowl to him. Steve Wool wrote about Carl's quick feet and sweet yet brutal batting. Wasim Akram called him one of the top batsmen West Indies ever produced. So yeah, maybe Carl could have scored more runs, taken more wickets, and stayed in cricket longer. But here's the thing, Carl Hooper made choices based on what mattered most to him, his family. When his son was born premature and needed him, Carl didn't hesitate. He went home. When the cricket board and his teammates didn't support him during that difficult time, he still chose family. And when he came back and proved everyone wrong by becoming a successful captain and scoring big runs, he did it for the people who stood by him. Connie, his kids, his mother-in-law, his real family. Then, when it was time to step away for good, he did it on his terms so a younger player could have his spot. Today, Carl Hooper lives a quiet, successful life in Adelaide. He's got his coffee business running well. He coaches young cricketers when he wants to. He trades currencies as a hobby. He watches his kids grow up. He goes to church with Connie. He stays in shape and even plays in the occasional Legends cricket tournament to catch up with old friends. In January 2024, Carl was at the Gabba in Brisbane watching West Indies play Australia. When the West Indies pulled off a historic Test victory, their first win in Australia in 21 years, Carl was spotted in the crowd with tears streaming down his face. That moment showed that he still cares deeply about West Indies cricket. The love never died, but he's also at peace with the life he chose. He wouldn't change anything. If he could do it all over again, he'd make the same choices. Because those choices gave him Connie, Carl Jr., their daughter, their business, their faith, and their family. The story of Carl Hooper and Constance isn't just a cricket story. It's a love story. It's a story about priorities, about what really matters when the crowds stop cheering and the cameras turn off. It's about a woman who stood by her man through retirement, comeback, captaincy, and retirement again. It's about a man who walked away from fame twice because his family needed him more than cricket needed him. It's about two people from completely different backgrounds, Caribbean and Macedonian Australian, coming together and building something beautiful. It's about faith guiding you through the hardest times. And it's about understanding that success isn't just measured in runs and wickets. Sometimes, success is measured in Sunday mornings at church, in coffee shops filled with family, in kids who know their roots, and in a marriage that turns every negative into a positive. That's the real legacy of Carl Hooper. Not just the 5,000 runs and 100 wickets and 100 catches in both tests and ODIs, but the life he built with Constance, the family they raised together, and the faith that kept them strong through everything. So next time you think about Carl Hooper, don't just remember the elegant cover drives or the clever off-spin or even that incredible to 33 not out. Remember the man who went to church 13 Sundays in a row to say thank you. Remember the husband who chose his premature baby over the World Cup. Remember the father who played indoor soccer with other dads at his son's school. Remember the businessman who built a coffee empire in Adelaide. Remember the man of faith who believed God would lead the way, and he did. That's the real Carl Hooper. And that's the untold story of his marriage to Constance and the beautiful life they built together. Watch until the very end because we're sharing exclusive details about how Carl's faith brought him back from isolation to becoming West Indies captain.